Hello everyone, this is Till here. Today I'm going to show you a video of me sketching the tools that I'm going to bring for my upcoming sketching trip. This is the Pelikan M200. This is going to be my main pen. This is the Duke 209, a full-day knit pen, and that's the backup pen, Uniball. These two are water brushes, and on my left this is the Rosemary travel pocket brush. Those are Daniel Smith watercolor paints. That's the ink bottle and the water container. So I'm going to draw all my tools on this page. This Pelikan fountain pen is one of my favorite because you can get some sort of line variation. You just apply a bit of pressure and you can get a slightly thicker strokes. So I'm going to first draw the Rosemary brush on the left side. Now I'm going to fast forward all this video so that it will not take too long to watch. I took about 1.5 hours to finish all the drawing with the coloring, so it's a very long process. That's the M200 I'm drawing. Now I'm comparing the M200 with the Duke to get a size comparison so that I can draw a bit more accurately. I'm using these two water brushes for reference right now. Even though I bring the water brushes, I'm not going to be using them because I prefer to use a normal sable brush. The water and the pigment is easier to compare on a normal brush. That's the Uniball Vision needle. I like the Uniball because some of their pens have pigment ink which are waterproof and fade proof, so you can use them with watercolor. That is the Pelikan ink bottle. It's a plastic bottle that I like, but I've since refilled it with Noodles ink. There's a little eyedropper inside which is quite handy as well. What I'm drawing now is the small water container that I use to wash my brushes. So now I'm going to draw this travel palette. All those are Daniel Smith paints that I squeezed from the tube into the pens. I let them dry over a day so they become hard. I've been using this for a few years now, and I can sort of understand the color mixtures quite well. That is why I always bring the Daniel Smith overseas for sketching trips. So while overseas, sometimes I like to try new materials, but when it comes to watercolor, it's more risky to bring things that you do not understand or have not used before, such as watercolor paints. For pens, I think it's still alright. Paper, I think you should try it first before you bring it overseas as well. In this case, for the Strathmore 400 series watercolor journal that I'm using, the paper is actually quite good. It has a nice cold press surface. It takes ink very well and it draws quite smoothly as well on the paper surface. So now I've finished drawing most of the stuff. I'm just going to write the names of all the items down. I'm writing the names down right now because I want to see how much space I have at the bottom to know what I'm going to draw later. I've drawn packing lists for most of my recent trips. The most recent one was Hanoi. When I look back at these packing lists, I can sort of compare and use them as reference for future packing lists. Now in this case, I've actually packed, most of the items here are actually the same as those that I brought to Hanoi in Vietnam 2 months ago, except for the watercolor journal, which is new. This is the wax tool. I'm drawing, if you notice that there's a bit of a smudge there at the seat area because the ink wasn't dry and my finger accidentally brushed over the ink. Alright, now I'm going to color the sketches. The two main colors I'm using right now are French ultramarine and Italian burnt sienna. These two will give you a very nice gray tone when mixed together. So if you want more blue, you can just add ultramarine, and you want it to be more gray, you just add the burnt sienna. Now I'm coloring the main areas and the shadow areas for the pens and the brushes right now. The rosemary brush that I'm using is really very nice. The sable brush tip is quite sharp and it's soft, but when you release it, bring it up off the page, the brush bristles will go back to a sharp point. Also in practice, I feel that the Da Vinci sable brushes are just a bit sharper. So right now I'm just filling in the gray shadow tones, gray areas. Interestingly, most of the things I bring are actually gray in color except for, I guess, the two water brushes, which are blue. That's my small sketching bag. I mentioned the sketching bag in a separate video also. You might want to watch that. I'll put that link down in the description below. This pocket palette, Daniel Smith pocket palette that I've used has been around for, I've been using this for a few years now. So now I'm going to add all the different colors. That's the Strathmore 400 series book. It's almost A5 in size. I quite like this because you can open the sketchbook flat. Now I'm adding the colors to the watercolor palette. Just dab it into pigment, add the colors on the paper, and then wash the brush and continue until all the colors are used as shown. Just to get a little bit of interest, I also added some watercolor paints onto the palette as well. There's a bit of mistake because the red color has merged with the Soda Light Genuine on the right side. So I have to use the tissue paper to remove the paint and draw again. Now I'm adding another layer of shadows to the darker areas. This is to give the sketch more form. If not, the sketch will look a bit pale. Okay, I'm almost done with this picture already. Just adding more shadows and shades. By the way, if you have any questions regarding the tools and materials that I'm using, or maybe even sketching in general, you can ask them in the comments section just below. Now this is a sketch that I drew just now, but I did not show it in the video because it would take too much time, but I'm just going to color it here and fast forward through this. Same thing, burnt sienna and French ultramarine mix. You can see that for the travel charger and for the back I've used, sometimes I use more ultramarine, which will show more blue, and sometimes I use more burnt sienna, which will give you a more brown. But if you mix them perfectly, you will just get a nice gray tone, a flat tone. Oops, another mistake on the back. Let me dab again. Interestingly, when I draw the clothes that I bring, sometimes I will draw my underwear and sometimes I will not draw my underwear. So for those people who saw the previous sketches with my underwear, usually sometimes I hear them commenting about me not bringing underwear this time, like because I did not draw them, which is quite funny. Okay, I finished drawing everything. Now just to fill up the space, I'm just going to write some words at the bottom. Let me add some. Okay, let me slow down a bit. Now I'm using the fountain pen to give the letters a bit more depth by adding lines by the right side, as if there's a light source from the top left. So this would make the letters a bit more 3D, more dimensional. Let me show a closer look. Yes, you can see that this is sometimes I will press a bit harder to get a thicker stroke with this pen. It's nice that way because you can do so. This is actually not a gold nib but a gold plated steel nib on the M200. The gold nib is also available, but it's only available on the M400. So this is how the words look with the shadow, and this is how the spread looks like after 1.5 hours of drawing and coloring. Thank you for watching this. If you have any questions, just post them in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I'll be posting more sketching videos in the future.